Hi everyone, my name is Roha and I'm the team lead of the Affordable Housing Project. This project is in collaboration with and sponsored by the Portland Housing Bureau, focusing and hoping to extend beyond the LEAD program. First, I'd like to introduce you guys to my amazing team. I had the honor of working with 6 wonderful individuals: Westley Trin, Rayne Khaled Esmail, Tran, Eyosi Desta, and Janekarnkit. Now, to really get us started, I'm going to pass the reins off to Rayne to introduce the project and give you guys an overview of what our last 6 months have looked like.
All right, thank you, Roha. So our goal with this project was to create a unified workspace for NHP where all of their forms, project documents, and overall data could be kept to one centralized area, basically have everything live in one space. We wanted to make it so that data entry and the compilation of that data would be a lot less manual and more automated. So to do this, what we ended up doing was we decided that because NHP utilizes Smartsheet already, we figured that, okay, how about we just use Smartsheet still, but we go a bit deeper into it and use more of the functionality that Smartsheet offers. So, for example, we have it such that we can use Smartsheet to generate documents, and we can put those documents onto DocuSign and then have those get automatically sent out to clients, contractors, etc. So our end deliverable goal initially was actually to create a centralized database. We realized this would have been kind of redundant since Smartsheet is already a place in which their documents can live. And while we were worried about the constraint of there being too many project documents in Smartsheet for Smartsheet's capabilities, we've been assured by the NHP staff that they have never overflowed at any point up to this point anyway. So the why of why we did this. So before we started on this project, NHP's workspace was kind of a cluster of physical paper forms that need to be filled out in person from clients and contractors, various different PDFs that would get sent out, and sometimes they would have to be printed out just to get signed anyway. So we figured that if we're able to get rid of all that clutter, we can allow their data reporting, analysis, their overall organization to be much more coherent. To demo this out, I'm going to send it over to Khaled. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Khaled. I'm going to be going over the workspace here in Smartsheet. So the first step for the homeowner is they're going to have to submit the program's interest form. It's just going to ask for their basic information, their contact info. And once they do, it's going to be added to this sheet here. It's going to auto-populate with all the information they submitted. And it's going to generate a project ID for them. And then once this form has been approved by one of the members of the Portland Housing Bureau, it's going to be sent to the checklist. And here it's going to track all the different forms that the homeowner's completed and hasn't completed, as we can see here. And it's going to be really useful for the Portland Housing Bureau to kind of see where a project is and what needs to be completed before they can move on. And there's 5 different stages, and that's also included here on the left. There's the different forms that are associated with each stage. And there are 2 types of forms, the manual and auto forms. And up next, Westley's going to talk a little bit more about that and the document digitization we did for this project.
Hi, my name is Wesley Trin, and I'll be talking about the role that document digitalization plays. A lot of the work from the first term built up to doing this task, and it was most of the work for the second term. We had 2 types of digitalized documents. The one without signatures and was simple was usually made in Smartsheet form. The more complex document with signatures on multiple fields was usually done with a DocuSign template. Digitalizing documents met a lot of the goals for this project. It helped with streamlining data entry, so instead of using physical paper, different programs, and stuff like that, we focused on Smartsheet, a form, or a DocuSign envelope. It eliminates manual data entry, most input fields from our form or DocuSign envelopes are mapped and automatically updated when submitted. It helps with collecting more data than before. Most input fields are mapped and recorded when submitted, resulting in more trackable data and less friction. It centralizes where all the work is done. With Smartsheet, we can also store PDF forms, create reports, tracking, and more. It allows for easier tracking of document locations all in Smartsheet instead of various different computers and cloud. The next section is about project management, and Robert will talk about that.
So hello, I will be walking you through our project management solution. So before we implemented our solution, managing projects was a bit scattered. Tracking progress, assigning tasks, and seeing where things stood require a lot of manual effort and cross-checking multiple documents. With our workspace solution, all of that is centralized. Let me show you how it works. So here's the tracker. This is where all of the documents are tracked. We can see that each document have its own rows with corresponding stage. We can also see the status summary, status author, and status manual column. The status summary provides the state of the document it is in, whether it is complete, waiting, or not required. The status author is our automation solution where we pull live data from its corresponding DocuSign integration or input form integration. We also provide the manual override solution where sometimes if something went wrong, the staff can come in, mark the document as complete. We also record the date that the document was marked, and we also record who modified that particular document. So overall, the tracker helps streamline project management, reduces error from miscommunication, and lets the team focus on more important work rather than the tracking part of it.
Hello everyone, my name is Eyosi, and today I will walk you through how our project grew, what each of us worked on, and how our direction changed over time. So first we started with a steady routine. Every Friday we met as a team. In these meetings we shared what we finished, we solved problems together, and decided who would handle new tasks. And later in the second term, we added another meeting each week to stay on track. We also met with our sponsors every Wednesday. These check-ins were very helpful. They gave us a clear guidance from the Portland Housing Bureau and let us confirm that we were moving in the right direction. We stayed connected through tools like Discord, Zoom, and Trello. So when it comes to the responsibilities and contributions, at first we all worked on research and testing. Everyone did a bit of everything, but later as the project moved forward, we split roles based on what each of us was doing. As you guys can see on the slide, we all had a different tasks in order to complete this project. One of the biggest surprise was how much our approach had changed once we understood the real needs of our sponsors. We wanted to make something they could actually use, not just something that looked good on paper. So our plan changed in steps. The first one, we began with a data cleaning project, which then grew into a database with a long-term storage, and React-based tracker that shifted into building a smart sheet workspace connected with a database. And then finally, we settled on smart sheets workspace for managing and collecting data, plus a database for analysis. So this path was shaped by sponsor feedback and our goal of making a tool that truly worked for us. So these diagrams show the big challenge we faced, how our design kept changing. The first diagram shows our early plan, lots of moving parts, including React tracker, a central database. It was ambitious, but too complex. The second diagram shows our final design. This version is simpler and more practical. We used DocuSign to turn paper forms into digital ones, then applied those templates into a smart sheet to make data entry easier and more consistent. So this isn't a step back, but actually it's a progress. We learned that the best solution isn't always the most complicated one, but the one that's most useful to the people who will use it. So yeah, that's all I have for now. Thanks for listening. Now I will hand it over to our sponsors.
Hello, I'm Antoinette Pietka. I'm the Data and Systems Team Manager at the Portland Housing Bureau. And I just want to extend my thanks to the PSU Capstone team for their work on the affordable housing project. It exceeded my expectations, and I'm very grateful and thankful. I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Hi, Kira McCollum. I'm a housing program specialist on the neighborhood housing preservation team. I am very excited about all the work that's being done here and how it will benefit our program moving forward.
Hi, I'm Aurelia. I'm a business systems analyst at the Housing Bureau, and I'm really excited for the solution they built. It's going to really be impactful for this project and beyond for the Bureau.
And hi, my name's Molly Luft. I manage our federal lead hazard control grant. Our team is sort of unique in that we do a lot of direct service work. We're out in the field helping Portlanders, and it can be easy to lose track of all the data and systems on the back end that help us do that work. This gave us an opportunity to look really deeply at those systems and see how they are and are not working for us. And I couldn't be more excited about the solutions the students came up with to help us better serve Portlanders.
Hi, I'm Travis, and I'll be going with the lessons we learned as a team over this Capstone project. The first lesson we learned was understanding our sponsors' needs. This required us to meet with our sponsors weekly as well as maintain consistent communication. Secondly, we practiced design principles by using visuals and diagrams to communicate our thoughts and ideas to the sponsors, providing a clear picture of what we were building. Thirdly, we found that building early allowed us to actually test our ideas and then receive feedback from our sponsors. Lastly, we realized the importance of being agile and adapting to changes. We would adapt our overall design and implementation process based on the feedback we received from our mockups, designs, plans, and what we learned from testing and research in order to best meet our sponsors' goals. Of the lessons we mentioned, we initially struggled with the idea of building early as we focused on research and tested later in the capstone, which brought difficulty in the later stages of development. Next time, balancing research, testing, and building things early is an area for improvement. The three lessons we learned are cyclic in the sense that we would try to understand our sponsors' needs, make designs based on those needs, and then build something. And we would repeat this process throughout our project. It mirrors the steps we took in order to adapt to change and build a project that closely aligned with what our sponsors needed. I will be handing over the floor to Roha, who will be talking about future development.
Thank you, Travis. Okay, I'm going to walk you guys through a quick scene. Imagine you stepped into a room where a team of people are working to meet certain goals. They're collecting data, creating documentation, and exchanging information all in order to get their jobs done. Now their focus is their goals, so as they work, a lot of clutter gets created, and there's no downtime or resources that can be spared for reorganization. Here's where we come in. We walk into the room and declare, you know what this place needs? Renovation. In theory, the picture we paint is amazing. A new, highly functional and organized space specially made for the team. However, reality is a different story. As you can imagine, we've skipped a couple of steps. Before we can renovate, we need to clean the clutter and have the room reorganized. We need to create a starting place for planning those renovations while also helping with their current situation so that they're able to work more efficiently without waiting for the perfect transformation. This is essentially how we started the project and what we did during our time with PHP. What I would say is the first stage of a bigger project for the organization. So right here. Now we're at this point where the room has been cleared and reorganized, and their processes have been streamlined and are easy to understand. So what's next? And that is stages 2 and stages 3. Now before we can get to renovating the room, the next stage is further exploring the existing functions within this room. So taking advantage of features of Smartsheet and capabilities of DocuSign that we didn't have time to fully explore or implement. Part of that is due to time, and a part of that is due to being unable to experience the feedback loop through the interaction of real clients with the system. The other part of the stage would be exploring Smartsheet's analysis and reporting capabilities. Okay, so for the final stage I have up here, I would actually go ahead and further divide this into 2 parts. First, looking into long-term data storage, finally utilizing the database the city has, integrating that into Smartsheet, and exploring the different options Smartsheet has to do that. And then lastly, and this is the step that I would identify as the beginning of a new journey for PHP, would be the creation of a proprietary portal. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you all for your time, and special thanks to Bruce and the staff of the Portland Housing Bureau for being with us on this journey, and best of luck to our sponsors with their future work and development.